Welcome to 180 U-Turn, the talk show that features some of the greatest conversion stories of our time. Stories of men and women who are on the highway to hell when they encountered a Damascus Road experience that turned their lives completely around. Hello everyone, I'm Steve Savant, and today I'm broadcasting live from Church on the Street, located at the Dream Center in the heart of Phoenix, Arizona, one of the top post-prison transition, detox, and rehab facilities for inmates, drug and alcohol abuse. For more information on their prison ministries, rehabilitation services, weekly meetings, and special events, just hop out to their website at cotsphoenix.org. That's cotsphoenix.org. And if you want to write me at the show, please feel free to do. I love it all the time. Enjoy battering back and forth. It's Steve at 180uturn.com. That's Steve at 180youturn.com. We're in day 3 of Mark Zemrus's show, and I have to say, Mark, this is, if you've missed part of Mark's message here, you need to go out and watch him in succession. You'll get a fuller understanding of watching the show in chronology. Mark, I have to say, it's like you're just going in and out of problems all the time, but this next time you're not going anywhere once you go. So let's talk about this first thing. This is amazing to me. Usually it's the other way around, but this may be a first for the show. I'd have to check my records, but I never heard the mom attacking the dad with a knife. Did you even see this coming? I know she was mad.
So 2013, me and my first mother's son get back together after that 2011 violation situation, and my other baby's mom decides to go with somebody else. So I'm asleep. It's 11:30 at night next to my son Lucas. He's 7 years old. He's autistic. We have a family night in the living room. That's what we do. We all three sleep together. Well, I'm getting awoken by her hair is facing forward. She looks like the chick from The Ring. Okay, you've seen that movie. And she's vomiting flaming hot Cheetos. Sorry to be vulgar, but it's just red. It looks, just the whole situation looks like, what, are you serious? And I sit up and I explain to her, Mary, I've got to wake up at 2:30 in the morning for work. What is going on? And so obviously in that alcohol-infused situation that she was going through, she was having issues with maybe something I did in the past. There was something there, either familial as well and what I maybe had done in the past. She's starting to slap me in the face. And I mean back and forth, boom, boom, smack. And I mean, after 20, 30 smacks, I'm feeling it. So I decide to do what I have been explained to do by officers being arrested before in domestically violent situations, is to not smack or hurt, grab by the wrists and restrain. So that's exactly what I do. I grab her by the wrists. I'm like on top of her. I'm grabbing her by the wrists and restraining her, saying, stop, Mary, stop. What are you doing? And it's not really obviously that hard, because she gets out of it and she runs into the kitchen, grabs a butcher knife. I'm standing in front of her and she goes like this. And this is slow motion in my mind, but I'm like, she's not coming at me with a knife. Boom. The knife plunges into my chest, 1.5 inches deep, 1.5 inches from my heart. I drop to my knees after she pulls the knife out. And I put my hand over my chest. I got a stab wound right here. Scar right here. 4 staples, 18 staples for trauma surgery. 911 gets called. She calls 911. I go out to the front of the complex. Mesa PD comes with the chopper. They got the SWAT with the shotguns. They go, and what apartment is she in? Her mom happened to be out there. But before that, I walk out from the apartment. I see a couple walking, and they're walking their dog. And I have my chest, and it's coming out air and blood. And I see this couple, and I go, hey, can you call 911? I've been stabbed. But in my ears, no sound comes out. But I'm seeing this situation from the way it feels now that I look back on it, that I was already dead, and I was just seeing my body be there, but my spirit was somewhere else, and they can't hear me because I'm not physically talking to them. I'm already dead, and I'm just walking around the corner, and I lay down, and she calls 911. They tell me to put pressure. They come, they take me to trauma surgery.
This is a close call.
Very close call.
I mean, you could have died on that table.
Very close call, yes.
Now, just when you think it can't get worse, and I'm so sorry to say that this episode is going to go downhill, but then you're this other gal that you're with, right? Who turns out to be a hooker after this.
After the fact, I get out of trauma surgery. I live somewhere. I go to a co-ed halfway house after, a week in a hotel room after my surgery and my week in the hospital, which was detrimental in itself. That could be a whole nother 5 episodes. So I go to this co-ed halfway house at Central University in Mesa, and I meet this gal named Michelle from Florida, blonde haired, and she just starts showing me that affection, and we start hanging out. We're talking about recovery and go to meetings, and I'm doing good, and I get a job, and then boom, we skedaddle from that place. We go to they changed Motel 6 to the Knights Inn right there in Country Club, and we go there, and she's using her drug of choice. I'm using my drug of choice, and I'm there, and money's going in, and I don't know how, I couldn't really say what was going on. Obviously, I'm clouded from the drugs, but I'm not really paying attention to what she's doing like that. She comes back, slams the door one night, and is like, I'm like, what's up? Some guy tied me to a tree, and yada yada yada. I don't really want to get into what the rest of it was. And I said, well, why would you let somebody do that? Why would that happen? You don't get it? How do you think we get all these drugs and this money? I'm a prostitute. Do
you have any idea?
Had no idea.
Well, now, is that clues because you're not hip to the street language on this, or you just are so doped up it doesn't matter?
I am not clueless to the situation of the streets. I just wasn't paying attention because I didn't really care. I was really deep into
is this
drugs.
the launching pad into heroin then?
This is part of the catalyst, probably moving me towards heroin. There's a prison sentence that comes up after this. I catch some new charges, and I head into Marana prison in about 2013, 14-ish. They send me. That's a drug yard. It's known as a drug program yard. And then I go there, and I'm fighting custody at this time. I'm doing phone battles. I get rolled up for some trouble. I go to the hole for 7 months, and I'm fighting over the phone for custody of my son Zachary. And I'm showing up on phone to these. They're taking me out of my cell. They're putting me in a cage for the phone. I'm doing it. I'm there with my lawyer. I'm in, and they're like, yeah, we got to move on this. We got to settle this. We got to get him adopted. We got to get you out because they're calling it neglect due to incarceration. And because that's because I can't provide food, clothing, or shelter. So that goes into that. Months before I'm supposed to get out, a detainer hits. I've got new felony charges awaiting for me, and I get bumped up from that yard to another complex, to a higher custody level yard. And now I'm fighting that case, and I get moved after almost resolving that case because they need me in court in Florence and Pinal County. So they take me to East Unit, so I'm closer to the Pinal County Sheriff's Office to transfer that. I get sentenced again. So not only am I in prison, I go to court for these new charges, get sentenced, have to go back through Alhambra to go to prison again. So I did 2 bids in 1 bid. And lost custody of my son. They severed my rights because I wasn't out in time. Now that's the catalyst.
And when you're sitting in prison, knowing you're going to be a decade down, that sounds awful. Just that phrase, a decade down. What was your mentality walking through that gate?
These situations from 2011 on, that was my life, which was county jail, Alhambra prison. County jail, Alhambra prison. My thought was, this is normal. This is how I'm going to die. I was meant to live this life. The chaos that ensues, the people I'm hanging around with, the situations that I'm being put through, this is what it is.
So when you're, I have never been a heroin addict, so I can't say what that. But there's not going to be a methadone clinic in prison. No, there's not going to be a transitional cold. There's only going to be cold turkey, and you're going to have to write it out.
Right. So
right? There's no meds here.
No, there's no taper. They rarely, if ever, give you a Klonopin taper in county jail. And I was coming off heroin, not pre-heroin. 2015, before that, I get out on this last charge. This is 2014-ish. Now I finished parole. I paroled to my partner's wife's house at 59th Ave and Olive. I parole there. I meet a chick. I'm talking to her. I'm working at a company. Boom, I start dabbling in meth again. Boom, I start dabbling in heroin. Boom, I start getting meth for free and start dabbling in heroin. And then I meet these chicks at a Circle K because all that situation crumbled to living with the friends and everything, and they moved on to getting their kids back and all this other stuff. So I'm at Chicken Park, of all places, selling drugs, selling needles. I'm at Chicken Park at 59th and what is that, Northern? It's Dunlap, and then you go south, I believe, something like that. Chicken Park. And I'm on probation. I'm on the run from probation because I was dating a girl in Sunny Slope, and she bounces to Oklahoma with her ex-husband, and there's no reason for me to live where I was living. So I get back in that mix, right? Well, I start using heroin because the dudes are just using heroin, so I just start smoking heroin. And that becomes a thing. And then I meet two chicks at Circle K, and that catapults me into Percocet usage. I go to a doctor, I start getting Percocets, and then I start full on just injecting heroin for that next 3 months. I mean, I'm doing, at the level of hyperactivity that I have as a grown man, I was doing the same level of heroin that a guy that's been doing it for years was doing off the bat, and it wasn't even affecting me. He was like this, and I was normal. So that just goes to show you the balance of chemicals in people's brains and who can handle what, and stuff like that. So I'm full on.
You went through so many binges too. I mean, periods where you're just doing 7 days, 8 days. Where you're just months on end.
Months of just chemical.
When for more people that are watching this and say that have never done any of this stuff, right? Have never went down this road. We all want to stop. I haven't met too many people on the street, in detox centers, or even in prison where you're cold turkey whether you like it or not.
Right.
That people say but people want to stop. But there are some people that don't.
No.
As soon as they get out, they're going to hook up again. They don't care.
Right.
Lying through their teeth. They're not going to go through rehab. They're not going to go to a detox center when they get out or a halfway house. They are going straight back in the street and start.
Right.
What kind of guy were you?
See, I wouldn't talk about it in prison. I might have let it go. I was working out. I was hurting people. I was getting hurt. I was doing all these things. That wasn't a part of my situation. And then I'd get out, and I'd be doing good. And it was the NA, the recovery scene. It was, to me, that kept me in the theoretical carousel, so to speak. For me, I work for other people, but that higher power, I see now that we were boxing God out. We were kind of putting him in this little higher power box. And I realized that kept, it was pushing me toward the dream center, let's just put it that way, because I need to fully function and focus on God first and foremost. Recovery, meetings, whatever, second, but worshiping God had to be first, and he was planting seeds in me, man.
Did you even have that concept? Who introduced that to you?
Catechism when I was 7 years old. I was raised Catholic, but it wasn't, you don't know.
Right.
I'm 7 years old. Why am I taking these classes? Do I know? No, I don't.
Okay, but somehow, some way, this is now becoming the early possibilities here of God consideration.
Of true God consideration.
Right.
Yeah.
It's on your radar now.
It's coming because I realize that all these things, it's almost like being backed into a theoretical corner where you're just like, and you're looking at everything from that corner, and there's no really other options. You are so far down, you have forfeited everything pretty much, and you have nothing, man.
One of the turning point events in your life was this extended time in the hole just before you got out.
This last time, yeah.
Yeah. Talk about that, because that's kind of major. That's a major tipping point.
Okay, so I get a lot of tickets at the yard I'm at when I do that 4.5 years for narcotics possession for heroin, and I get busted for disruptive behavior. I get a major ticket. I get a major ticket for disrespecting staff, talking back to the sergeants because he talked to me some type of way. I have all these pride and ego issues because they teach white pride. And then not only that, but I'm brewing hooch because I got those other tickets. Now I lost my third phase cubicle that I was supposed to get. They never gave me one, so I had a resentment towards that. I was like, all right, I'll show you. So I start brewing hooch for $5 a bottle. So I'm making hooch. I'm getting tickets. I got stuff in the roof. I'm brewing hooch in the roof. I mean, it's all in my locker. 27 bottles and on all this, and I get another ticket for that. And I'm in class one day, and they say, hey, look, you got to roll up. You're going to max custody. All right, cool. And there I go. I'm getting dressed out, searched. My stuff's getting rolled up, and I'm going to maximum custody for a year. I didn't get out for a year because my points were so high. They were what were they, 51, 52, or 48, 51, 44, or 48, 44. And those points are 5 and 5.
In all this time in prison, and in all this time, especially in this last section, just before you get out in the hole, doing segregated time, does it ever sit to you say, did you say, I'm of the mindset, this is my life, it's going to be this way the rest of my life? Or, God, would you show up once in a while? Or what was your attitude, do you think?
Because you hear of God, you've been to meetings, you've gone to church with other people, you get freaked out at some things, and other things you're just like, man, if there is a God, can you show up? I don't know what else to do, man. I guess I don't have this.
And you don't even have any expectations what that looks like.
I have no clue, because I don't want to die in prison. I know one thing is true. I do not want to die locked up behind a cell door in a cell next to a toilet.
If you're watching this, and some of this goes on Zoom into prisons, nobody wants to die in prison. They want out. And even if you're in a long stay in a long haul, just remember, everybody wants out, and there's something on the outside. It's interesting, though. Not everybody is looking for God to fix this, right? But now it's all of a sudden it's hit your radar. You're open to it. I often wonder, why was I open to this 10 years ago? Why didn't I come earlier? Well, sometimes it takes us a long time to be on the destructive road until we figure out, let's take the exit ramp off with God and do it. Amen. Listen, we're going to be continuing our story. Tomorrow we'll talk about some of the God events that finally woke Mark up and sent him on a path that's completely 180 degrees from what you were doing. That's for sure. For more information on all the prison ministries, the rehabilitation services, weekly meetings, and special events here at Church on the Street at the Dream Center in Phoenix, just go ahead and hop out to their website at cotsphoenix.org. That's cotsphoenix.org. So until next time, I'm Steve Savant, and remember, no one's outside the reach of God. No, not one.